the pilot phase for the first six is coming to an end at the end of this month. Um, we said we would do a 6-month pilot phase. We are satisfied and happy with what has happened thus far. And actually, I have on my desk now the uh, nominations to go to the cabinet for all 24, for the remaining 24. So I don't quite know how we do this. Um, I'm gonna, still consulting with the permanent secretary. So whether we do it 12 on 12, but all 24 are ready. And I've finished my consultations with the various community leaders. We have um, we have the names. The committee has done a fantastic job because most of the names that people would have recommended are the names that the committee selected, and so there's very little for me to do really in that regard. The the things that have come from the Chinese in terms of equipment, those are to land in the island in another week and a half, 2 weeks. And it's a substantial amount of equipment, computers, desktops, laptops, photocopiers, desk chairs, a lot of stuff. So the equipment is there. The issue of staffing is a matter we're discussing with the Ministry of the Civil Service, because the councils are fairly extensive and would require staff. And as you know, the government of Barbados is going through, as all governments in the world, some issues on the fiscal side because of the downturn in the economic activity. So the luxury of creating a whole new set of posts in the public service is not there. I don't know that it's ever there anyway. So what we're looking to do is a judicious mix of trying to look to reassign some people from other departments which are might be underutilized into the constituency council department, and also bringing in some new personnel. So I think we are ready. We're ready to go. Ready. It's basically on my shoulders now to get the papers up to cabinet and get them approved. And we hope to take the first one this Thursday. If we decide to split them, if not, we will take all 24 one time. The budget is there. It was approved last year in the estimates. There is no change. 6 million Barbados dollars, and that's there, so we can utilize it. it is entirely possible that we will not be able to utilize all that money between now and the end of the financial year, which is uh, March 31st. But in terms of the structural and institutional aspects of it, those expenditures are pretty much taken care of. So I would say to date, we would probably have spent about 2.5, maybe $3 million of those resources uh, for making provision for accommodation and equipment and that kind of thing. But we're ready to go. Um, and we're now discussing the estimates for 2010 2011. So those would be laid in Parliament shortly, so we will know what we're looking at. But the resources have been apportioned for the function of the council. The issue is not really about resources, and as I've said before, you know, the 5 or 6 million odd dollars that have been set aside for the councils is not a figure that is going to cause a destruction of the Barbados economy, contrary to popular, but not popular, it's just contrary to opposition impressions. There's no need to increase it at all. In fact, we're looking at ways in which we can make savings out of it and maybe come in slightly under. Given what we know now is the thing with the 6 councils having been piloted, no need at all to increase that figure. At least not at this stage. One has to understand the councils are not there to replace government institutions. The welfare department, the urban and rural development commissions, the MTW, drainage, they're there to do their job, and they're doing it and doing it reasonably well. What the councils seek to do is to streamline and target how the work is done and identify for these agencies who are in most need and what communities are in most need. So that's one part of their thing. There are other independent projects which they can do. For example, we worked in the council in my constituency, I should say the council, with the MTW and with a private contractor who basically volunteered his services, and the NCC to do a major debushing program in my area over the holidays, which provided about 15 to 20 jobs for a lot of the young people in the area, but also was able to clean up the environment. Now, those are the kind of things that we're looking at. There's some play parks in the constituency, for example, that need attending to, and we will work with NCC because it's NCC's job to deal with those. But NCC can't get around to all at the same time. And if these communities can help themselves through the council, then that's what we're really looking at. Communities taking charge of their own thing rather than sitting down waiting on a government department to come. And it may take 2, sometimes 3 years for it to be done, given all that has to be done and the limitation of resources. So if they can help facilitate and getting the ball rolling, even if the agencies come in and finish off, then that is how we are looking at. So there are a number of issues, housing issues, there care issues, as I said, issues of street lighting, roads, drainage is another major issue. Issues with trees, uh, also providing facilitation for people who have been evicted on a short-term basis until the social agencies can deal with the fire victims. These are the kinds of things that the constituency council can do and have been doing in terms of the 6 which are up and running now. So we're happy. The councils are also going to help with the calc, the living conditions assessment that is currently going on. I imagine they would also help people who are coming around with the census in May to identify communities and who to get to and that kind of thing, given their database that they have been able to collect over the last 6 months. In fact, if you look at the council, a lot of people are not even politically affiliated. They're people, look, communities know who are the people that do work within the communities. And therefore, you're not going to be able to manipulate that situation to just put somebody on because they're a supporter of a party, having never done anything in a constituency. It's not going to work in Barbados. Society is too small for that to happen. So that was always a very foolish and childish suggestion, and the 6 councils have proven out. A lot of the people who are on the councils, I do not even know them myself personally, but I read the files and I see what they have done, and we can verify whether they have done this or not. And we look at the recommendations, the references which they have. And you can speak to the references, you can speak even if and you can verify it. So, from council to council, they are. In fact, I can identify a couple of people who are on the council in my constituency that do tremendous work in the community, but I've never known them to be political one way or the other. They've never expressed a view. I don't even know if they support me, but they're there and they're doing a good job, and that's what's important. So I never really took that as a serious criticism. That's just part of the political thing that goes around from time to time. I think there will be demands placed on the council, as there will be demands placed on all the increased demands placed on all the social agencies in Barbados, welfare, urban, rural, and so forth. But there is a budget, and we have to operate to the budget. So there's not going to be any increase in not any increases in the budget in these circumstances. What we have to do is target better, and deal with those most egregious and immediate cases first, and then we work our way down and through the system. And I think that is the remit we have given to the councils, and the remit I've given to all of my departments, as other ministers have theirs. And I think that once we stick to that, we should be okay in the circumstances. Things will get better. We know that. It is just you have to hold your own and ensure that there's discipline in the public expenditures.